All right, here we are using the SHG700. We have the camera mounted horizontally in line left and right to this little knob. It can be upside down or right side up, it doesn't matter. And then we have the whole SHG unit aligned with the orientation of the telescope. So once we have all this hooked up, we're gonna have to go through the focusing procedure in Sharp Cap. And then Martin is on Sharp Cap over here. And the first thing we're gonna do is try to find the sun. So we don't have anything on the screen right now, so we need to focus first. So let's point the telescope towards the sun. We may have to adjust the exposure and gain, but it looks like we found something there. So let's go ahead and lower the exposure a bit. And it looks like we're severely out of focus and the image is on the left-hand side there. So let's move that image. Okay, sweet. It looks like we're centered on something. We can start by probably first focusing the camera. The camera focus is the horizontal lines here, and we're going to use this one up here. Yeah, that is the camera focus, and that should allow those fine lines to come into focus, horizontal lines. And we can zoom in with Sharp Cap and get those lines in focus. The next thing we want to do is probably center up the hydrogen alpha emission absorption line, which is here up on the top. So we can use the prism adjustment dial, the grading adjustment dial, and that will allow us to pick the band pass that we want to shoot in. So once that's centered, our main focus is going to be seeing hydrogen alpha. You can do that in pretty much any step of the process, but we still need to focus the collimator lens. And the collimator lens is, you can either focus on a piece of dust. This big vertical line in the middle, that's actually a piece of dust or debris, but I like using those as a focus point. You can also focus on the edge of the field of view where the black borders are. But if we move the sun off to the side here, let's see, oh, wrong way. Yeah, so you can also focus on that black edge, but I find it easier just focusing on a chunk of dust towards the center. But when you're focusing the collimator adjustment, you also have to balance that with the camera adjustment. So you mess with this one, and it's also going to mess up this one. So you have to go back and forth in between these two in order to get them both perfectly sharp. So we got the vertical line perfectly sharp as best as we can, and we kind of have to go back and forth because one will affect the other. All right, so that looks awesome. So the last thing we need to do is focus the main telescope. The main telescope focuser, you will see vertical scintillating lines. It almost looks like TV static. So maybe we can zoom in a little bit and get some better detail on that. But it almost looks like some old TV monitor, but you get this crazy vertical noise, and that's how you know the telescope's in perfect focus. And that's using the main telescope focus knob right here. So now that we got those vertical scintillating lines, we have the horizontal camera in focus. The hydrogen alpha is centered. And we also have the collimator, piece of dust in focus. We're ready to start our scan. So we're gonna change the region of interest to a smaller size. That way we can get a higher frame rate. And I like to use a vertical size of 150 pixels. So you just have this tiny little skinny bar. And then we can use, we want to center up that hydrogen alpha line. So we can use this to center up hydrogen alpha. And now we have our gain at 0, perfect. And we're ready to start our capture. So I like to do, for this example, a speed of what were we using? 8x speed at 170 FPS, and our focal length is like 500. So that's what we're using for this example. So we're gonna move off the sun using the hand controller. We're gonna slew an RA off of the sun, and now that we are off of the sun, we can start our recording. So let's name this SHG test 5. And we're going to start the recording. And now we will move the right ascension over the sun at motor speed 8, completely passing over the sun. And it's going to take a minute. Okay, sweet. So now we can stop the recording. And we'll go ahead and drop that file into the program JSolX. And this program will work out all the kinks, fix any errors in its shape or its orientation. And JSolX can also do colorization and annotation and give you like an artificial eclipse view. So it has a lot of useful features. But we're gonna let this load and see what we get. Okay, so the image has finished compiling. The next thing we want to do is make sure that our X-Y ratio is under 1. If it's over 1, that means your speed is either too fast or too slow. So we probably could have sped up a little bit instead of 8x. And then you have your tilt angle. This can be minimized by adjusting the camera's tilt. But I find that this program works very well at correcting all these issues within a certain margin. But the next thing that I like to do is everyone wants to see it in color. So if I can find my cursor, there it is. We can click Colorized H alpha, and this generates a color image. And we'll let it load here. And it looks like we have a weird bump in the corner. That's probably because of a gust of wind. It's been pretty breezy out here. But yeah, there's our final sun image. It looks pretty good. I think if we went earlier in the day, we'd probably get some better details. Because there's a lot of turbulence, it seems, and the image looks kind of shaky. But there's also a bunch of other tabs on here. You can do the Doppler map, so you can see which side's coming towards us and which side's coming away from us. There's like an eclipse view, there's a white light view. There's a ton of different little things you can click on here to play around with.